Right, so just want to do this quick video about mapping forms, because one of the things that I've found very helpful with learning forms is making a map of them. So obviously Choy Lee Fut forms tend to be quite complex in that, you know, your footwork's all over the place. You have to go here, you have to go there, you have to turn 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, whatever. It all changes and it's quite hard to remember, and sometimes it's just easier if you make a map of where the footwork needs to go. So the first time I did this, it was with the staff form, which you can see here. I was able to do this primarily because the video that I learned from that Neil Wilcott made, he rather helpfully had mats which were a horse stance width, or one of his horse stance widths, apart wide. So I was able to make it, be pretty clear exactly where he was going and make the map based on that. And now here I have done, this is a maths exercise book with squares. That's what you need. Makes it very simple. Here I've done it so that we've got 4 squares equal 1 horse stance width, and then 2 squares will be like a twist stance or cat stance, something like that. So that's kind of how I've worked it, and this is really just so that you've got a fairly good idea of where you are within your space. And then here, see, I've marked the start and the end, where you start and where you end, and then this is kind of more or less says whereabouts you need to go. And so the first one I did that with the staff form. It's a particularly large form, the Chow Sot staff, single-ended staff, moves over quite a wide space. It's very easy to kind of go completely out just by getting one step wrong. So yeah, I found that very useful. Another one I felt I needed to do that with was the broadsword. I found that very hard to work out, to get right. I was forever like ending like 5 paces across and 2 behind or something like that. It was ridiculous. So this here is my broadsword. So here you've got the start and the end is really the same. I've ended up doing some different coloured sort of pens for some bits, just to make it easier for me to remember which bit I'm on, because obviously you cover the same ground quite a lot. So obviously with the broadsword, the plum blossom broadsword, you're going across that line quite a lot. That line is the barrel roll. That's what Neil was doing in his video. That's anyway, I find it a lot easier now because actually Brian Cuttle told me how to do it. So now I get the pace, get exactly where I'm supposed to go within the space, which is it's much easier. But anyway, so that's that one that I did. And again, it's so what I found was to kind of have a square or rectangle or whatever, that's the area within which all of it goes. So that's the widest, and that's the that's the longest, and that's the widest area. So I found that easiest, and so I mark out each sort of horse stance width with a cross. That just makes it easier. And so what I was doing was, like, sometimes it was enough to just take the book out so that I could, and then carry it with me while I tried to work through the steps and get the pacing, get the directions and how far you were going right. With the broadsword it's a little bit more difficult. It was partly because I was actually taking Steve Cuddle's advice on the barrel roll. So a thing that you can do is take out rope. Quite often what is advised is to mark out the space with a chalk or tape, or that you can easily remove from the floor. My living room's not big enough for that, so where I go out and train, it's grass, can't do chalk or tape on that. So I take out rope and use that to mark out the area. Obviously it's easy to kick rope, but when you're really just trying to work out where you're supposed to go, that's not really a problem. So that's my broadsword one. This here is my is the Leopard. I don't know how easy you can see that with the pencil marks, but again, that's the start and end marked, and this is kind of roughly within the space where you have to go. Leopard versus Tiger was the only one that I felt the need to, the only one of the non-weapon forms that I felt the need to mark out so that I could learn it properly, because Neil Wilcott's video, the Tiger video in particular, was terrible, really badly edited, couldn't work it out properly from that. So now I did experiment with putting arrows so you know which direction, so you know arrows to going that way, arrows to go this way. Problem is you do cover a lot of the same ground, so it just can get really confusing. It's best just to mark out the space where you're supposed to go within, really. This here is the fan form. This is what I ended up making for my fan form, because the plum blossom fan, the 8 direction fan, it covers quite a lot of area. It covers about the same amount of area as the staff. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like 4 by 4 horse stances is the way I've got it, and I've got start there, end there. It's based on what Neil did, his videos, you know, he filmed all his videos on the mat so I could make sure that I got it right. So if it's wrong, it's his fault, okay? Don't blame me. Yeah, this was Jiao Sang Mara, I decided to mark that out. I got a little bit fascinated with the patterns that you make on the ground, particularly when I first learned 9-star blocking. Because if that's it's like the 4th form you learn, really. Oh, no, sorry, the 7th. But anyway, it's a 2-person form, and in case you don't know it, you're basically doing the same thing twice, but in a mirror image. So you go one side, do everything with like right-handed, left-handed, then everything that's the other side goes. Everything that was right hand done with the right hand is done with the left hand, and in the opposite direction, everything that was done in the right hand is done in the left hand, the opposite direction. Yeah, it's all like you're kind of doing a mirror image the second time, and I kind of got a bit fascinated by that. You do it in the opposite direction, and because I'm doing it out on the grass, I can see like the pattern that it's making. Yeah, so I sort of came to call that the Yin Yang Form, because it seemed to be like this sort of oppositional thing, but together, and it does make a bit of a circle on the ground when you do it a lot. And I used to have a thing about doing it, turning around and doing it in different directions all the time, because that made it easier to be sure that I could remember it. One of the things that I feel that is one of the effects of learning Choy Lee Fut Kung Fu in particular, that I feel is really underrated, is how good it is at making you understand where you are in a place. So I used to get lost so much before I started learning Choy Lee Fut Kung Fu, and I'm saying Choy Lee Fut Kung Fu particularly because we have those rather complex forms that most styles of martial arts don't. Because you have to have a very strong sense of where you are, you know, if you turn the wrong way, then it can mess things up. If you turn around when you just turn like 180 degrees or 90 degrees to do a form, even within the studio, if you do that same form but turned around, it can really mess you up because you're facing a way that you're not expecting to within the form. And I found that it really helped me get a very strong sense of where I was within a place that I was in. So my days of going in completely the wrong direction are over. Like because I just know where I am, and I just really like that. And I feel like maybe most people don't get as lost as easily as I do. So that would be why. Anyway, hope that will help.